So you admitted then that everything happened as I described. That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the red screen. You can blame it, this merry country of yours. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murders walk free. What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap bang in the middle of that charming lady's back. I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there. Now, someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really awful about giving false information in my testimony before, but as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart. Implicating Ray again. She's the one who gave the poison to the Englishwoman and added her pitiful existence. How? Then suddenly snap. This journal here is off the hook. That could be sound. Certainly. If the witness had administered the poison himself, he only have waited for it to take effect. Subsequently, stabbing a victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical. And therefore his report had nothing to do with the poison. Yes, it's all quite logical. That's right. This is logical and true. I'm glad you all seen the light. You still stab her? Whatever. Justice at last. This is unbelievable. And after I made so much progress, it's proving his guilt. He's going to get away with it now. Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruto-san. They never stop looking for a way forward until the judge final gavel. The final gavel. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with that, what I assume be your final cross-examination in this trial. Okay, Yes, Your Excellency.
Hold it!
What exactly were they arguing about? About what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago. That's what? The student girl was laying into the English woman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson. Yes, John H. Wilson. A professor of medicine by the hair from England by Professor Bicodoba, no less. Right, but the English woman just jeered. Jeered? Her case was to be heard by the British Consular Court in Shanghai. However, there is a little doubt that she will simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman. It was eating that student girl up inside. You will see it. He real fell for her. I can't. I can't stand here listen to this tripe. Hey, young girl. You stand accused here. You can just blurt out whenever you feel like it. No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen. But this awful man is making all this up. So Sada, please, you have to make them listen. I turn to the dock at once, man, Bami-san. We're in the middle of a cross-examination. Your Excellency, please, I implore you. That journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly! It's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted bigot, dirty Greek peeping Tom. Peeping Tom? Whoa, take it easy there. Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accuser's remarks. I will grant. But, Your Excellency! It is likely to be found a cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it will be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concern. So we'll recognize that this contravenes regularly protocol. I hereby call upon the defendant to speak. Oh, thank you so much, Your Excellency. Okay, makes sense. So far. The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? I suspected her for being the one who stole it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson. That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett. Additionally, Miss Brett what? Additionally, Miss Brad... that's true, additionally, Miss Brad certainly had knowledge of the new poison. But surely it will be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government, especially when there is an investigator checking. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are truly searched when they leave, and if the thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague getting a poison out will be very difficult. That's true. I passed the Professor Mikodama until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from the top to tail. Miss Brad rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin being developing, you see. But since Soseki-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away, other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance. Feeling ashamed of myself, just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with deadly poison. I wanted to look my old enemy in the eye, surely you can understand that. To find out if my suspicion were true, I confronted Miss Brad about the poison. Told her if there were to be a nation involved in this, like Cthulhu, an incident involving somehow, it wouldn't just be the university. I'm starting to losing it. The military will be dragged into it, the whole government even, will be a complete disaster. How did Miss Brad respond to your concerns? She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and say she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually. In English, ah yes. Minimemo-san, one small question if you don't mind. I don't mind. Can't you see I'm busy? Clearly you were outside the beach hut listening. Well, it's the defendant and Miss Brad were conversing. Presumably then, it was you who wrote this article about what you heard. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from Human Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published in this morning's edition of Shoyu News. The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else. Huh. Sorry, don't know what you're talking about. Yes, look at this. The entire article is almost what I said to Miss Brad word to word. Well, Minimemo-san. As a journal and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources as founding principle of many memoirs. Father is clearly right about this. That reporter did write that article. He based it on what he overheard from the outside the hut. So that's what I was all about. You're trying to cover up the fact that you were listening. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her. Shut up! My stories never stinks. Look, whatever you say, little girl, doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there is something I want to say. I want to go on the record. Very well, you may amend your formal testimony. The point is, if you poison someone, there's be no reason for Dan to go to stab the person as well. So, I agree with that statement. But,
Objection!
Well, I can think of a reason. Started to impair breathing ending with a killing. We suggest for this talk apparently enter. Okay. It's orderly specific. Minutes. Well, I can think of one reason. What? But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. You glean all the information of this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut. Of course he did. There can be no question of that. After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it was a terrible toxin. And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Membami-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. I notice I'm getting away from the webcam. In other words, it would be impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brad's drink.
Objection!
Where are you going with this, counsel? Minimemo-san made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant has somehow found an opportunity, this man will have seen it. Which means that Miss Brad would have imbidded the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Membamis entered the hut. Yes, very articulate, but when I walk into the hut, I immediately start to press Miss Brad about the poison. At which point, many Memo-san overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? What worrying information? The information which he summed discreetly included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily obtained. Okay. Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could be from is my lab. And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison will exhibit a telltale signs in death. The extreme contraction of the pupils, yet it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it will be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which will be reduced the number of suspects to only a handful of people. Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties the toxin will be developing. None of them will be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Membami-san being no exception. Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered the unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties. In other words, someone like you, write many memo. Yeah. It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day, and it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim, but you quickly realized that it was a terrible mistake, because the poison caused such an unusual symptom and was so traceable. As you listen in from the far side of the beach hut, think most you learn of these facts. But you already given the victim poison at that point, it was too late, so you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. You stubber! A plan that involves stabbing the victim in the back through the reeds.
Objection!
That was quick plan. That was quick thinking and quick plan. But what good could that possibly do? Yeah. Isn't it obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brad before the poison could take effect. Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he? Exactly. Because without any revealing sign of the new secret poison use, no one will ever have suspected. This is extraordinary. Yes, the fact in the poison meant it will be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use, which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back. What is surprised me? Why he stayed for the school? Order. The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument that they wish to move forward? Well, there are numbers. Yes, I counter completely.
Objection!
I counter. The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way he nurtured the remains of his top knot, he's clinging to the last hope. Lost? You pathetic, useless, fallen samurai. Fallen? Where are you going fallen? My Brugiona growth is on the side. Oh, neat. On a counter-argument? What are you talking about? Should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say. Give it to the victim, you say. Stab her, you say. Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter-argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Yes, make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without that evidence, it means nothing. Where I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean, what the professor said early in this trial is all here. My memos, every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Show You News is famous for. It's the new is the power of the printed word. But surely it will be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed by the government. Indeed, all visitors of the laboratory are truly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself, our colleague getting points out will be very difficult. How's that then? Blown the story wide open. See, I rated many Memon, a mere reporter from the Shoyu News. Couldn't possibly have stolen that poison? Professor Laboratory? But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day he stole it and used it to kill. If that's the case, to identify the poison itself is a definite evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here. What's your point, you gnarly handsome country pumpkin? So he knows he's... I love it. It was like, he give you a compliment, meanwhile trying to insult you. My point is there is one way that you many members could have stolen the poison that day. I've heard enough verbal conjecture now. I think what the court must be shown is evidence. What proof do you have that the wicked stole it?
Take that!
The proof, Your Excellency, is a fountain pen. Sorry, it was quite obvious. A fountain pen? How can that possibly be relevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. Believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago. But I was wearing by a weasel hair, calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fan. Well, as a forward-thinking man of words, I obviously love my fountain pen. Suck up a spoon, some loose ink. The one word is a wash with words in the blink of an eye. That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later. And that's all these talking sucking up ink have. Yep, and just as it's possible to suck in up into a reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course. My word, can't this really be? Well, many Memo-san. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, use your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up to the nib into the pen reservoir. God, boy.
Objection!
Most absurd that never happened. True, we heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thieves like this from the laboratory. But will anyone have thought of looking at a fountain pen in other places? No. But let them shame to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a little search will not have been concluded. Well, this is quite startling, I must say. Might recall that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by many Memo-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped? Are you suggesting? The natural conclusion is that in your haste at act, will list the victim was distracted for a moment. You dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from into the air. There will be any number of the alternative explanation. For example, the witness could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen from his quivering hand. No, that can't be. It really was. How do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? Use the regent. What? As you can see for yourself, if you examine the evidence, there will appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. When a newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen. Nothing! The pen was dropped after the poison to fill its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass. It's getting very hot, I'm getting tired. Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? What do you have to say into your defense? So it's our modern justice work, is it? I don't know why, it sounds such a woke thing to say. So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So if my pencil snaps? I can always call my way back to the game. I've plenty in reserve. Aha! Aha, yeah! I'm sorry. Did you just throw your pencil? Like, I don't know. Well, everyone was like, oh my god, he threw his pencil! Ah! Ah! Regretting myself, the poison up in my pants as well. Speculation, nothing more. You thought I could bring down a fine upstanding citizen with a trick like that? Think again. Looks like I was going to take out one final decisive blow to finish this matter. I see, the situation is now very simple. It rests upon whether or not these witnesses did indeed steal the poison on the day in question, and therefore it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence. Nah, no such evidence could possibly exist.
Objection!
Many Memo-san, this is how our modern justice system works. What? The courtroom evidence is everything. Courtroom evidence is everything. Something you'll do well to remember. Because you were well past the point of speculation at this stage, I'll show you. Very well then, I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence. This is it then. This will be the final piece of the puzzle. Have a breathe. Defense can prove by means it's the regent.
Take that!
Counsel, what is that bottle? This bottle contains a new chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question. Yes, the poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues, and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method. Or from another perspective. Simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison. Reagent? What? One drop of the content of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Memo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond any reasonable doubt. No, you can't. I won't. Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out a test on the fountain pen at once. Hiya! Susato, with me. Oh yeah! Hiya! I was waiting for this moment. Hey, did I do it right? That was Susato takedown, wasn't it? Yeah, it was great. I couldn't read any of it. It was going too fast. I was hardly managing to read it out loud. You may pause if you wanted to. No, quite. That was Ryutaro takedown. That was a Ryutaro takedown. The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present. When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me and I decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied the whole thing down to the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Suck up into your fountain pen. Really 007 stuff. Yeah, it's us, right? Answer one thing, Memo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. Too juicy for a journal like me to pass up. Then why did the Englishman end up dead? Yeah. I went to the heart intending to quiz her on her situation, that's all. As a reporter. A known killer enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face. Yeah. This was someone with that overly powered stuff. Oh, what is this? A Far Eastern caveman pushing to practice journalism? Really, must learn the difference between reporting and listening at always, your ignorant plebeian. What did you call me? This country with its pretension to justice system, to a free press, is really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back to the cave you came from. That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journal spirit getting all fired up. I'd like to ask you something. Yes. You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought. There's no justice in the press. Sorry? After that trial 9 months ago, I keep digging and digging to find out what had happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up, that's what it was. A cover-up? What do you mean? I will remind you for your position, witness, be careful to what you say. Huh, come on, doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national and consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet the puff-up English woman was going to sail away into the sunset, a free woman? The only possible explanation is that behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan. A sort of deal. And done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. Do you know what happened? Techno just tore the article up. Came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush the free press, then what choice do I have? But see that justice is done by myself. Don't forget, Benny Mail-san. And you commit a murder yourself. You try to relay blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, you're not better than Giselle Brett. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose. It will appear that we have reached the conclusion of this trial at last. Finally, in an hour and a half. Counsel for the defense, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, you? Me? My? Yes. Sorry, Your Excellency. Just thinking. And also unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminds me of your cousin exploits. Oh, Naruhodo's, Ryunosuke, you mean? The way he handled the trial 9 months ago, and the way you handled this one. It gives me hope that we are generally entering a new era of justice in this land. That's very flattering, Your Excellency. Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you contemporaries. Thank you. So, Prosecutor Auchi, do you have any final thoughts? Seppuku. Classic. Prosecutor Auchi? Sorry. I, the Teketsuchi of the Auchi clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it was wither and die here today. Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Silence! Rather than living on in shame, I will end all now with this blade. He's just gonna cut his thingy. 100% sure about that. For that, the true power of Ouchieism. Ouchieism? I hope that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness. Sprinkle my top knot. The time's right for far a while. Hope is lost forever. Taketsuchi. Taketsuchi. Hiya! The music. Hiya! Omitofo. Oh my god, it's like this last scene of the Avengers. Right. Now, in regard to the defender, remember me, son? Yes, so Excellency. I have reached my final verdict. Hereby find you. Court is adjourned. '13th of August, 2:38 p.m. Supreme Court of Judiciary Defendants Amended Chamber 3. I don't know why I decided to read it. It's over, finally. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though it is all I can do, just to stay standing. Oh no. Oh no, I hate this Zoom. Lawyer has such a great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Oh Jesus. Are you gonna kill Naruhodo? Don't they, Naruhodo-san? Like he's dead. Katsumana! Okay, Susato. Thank you so much. You were so dashing there. Ray and Father. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've... Oh no, I think I'm going to cry. It was easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end too. The only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh no, I can't take all the credit. I took courage to tell the truth in there. The courage! You did a wonderful, Ray, so I will have to say that the congratulations belong to you. You done this all by yourself! Susato, don't be standoffish. Sorry? We are friends, equals, and the trial's over. So no more of this form of super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger, to throw caution to the wind. Caution to the what? I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryutaro Naruhodo. I'm taking you out of to a milk bar tomorrow. Milk bar? Is that an actual thing? Is it like a cafe in Japan? Or something. Okay? Right, I see. I'll think about that, right? At any rate, we really knock out the wind out of the horrid man. And it feels so good. So good. Yes, it was satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together? I hope you're not looking at me, Ray. Oh my goodness! Of course not. Oh, there is at last. Ray, lovely smile. You fought for your friends to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you. Defense attorney, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryutaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Susato Mikotoba now. Judicial regional assistant. I'll never see him again then. What a terrible shame. What? What is happening? Soseki-san, I'm Inspector Hosonaga, so I do hope you've been keeping well. Oh, is that really you? Yes, I not changed my appearance for, well, obvious reason, I hope, but it's me. Susato Mikotoba. I don't. So dashing, so divine. No. I doubly dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea Mr. Sato-san Esquire's, and you were Locum student Naruhodo Esquire's cousin. Astonishing, astounding ace attorney. They're not cousins, but yeah. Poor Soseki-san, so confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in the prison cell in London. What extraordinary conundrum. It was the unwitting student from Japan for himself embroidered. But after Naruhodo skillfully defense of the old ballet, Soseki-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seemed to have earned himself a great fame as an archer. I'm stunned, that's truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea. And I am chief inspector at the police bureau, who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less. Mr. Turtle? I'm sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see. That's too, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope. Not a patch to you, Tom, Inspector. Well, unprofessional, of course. Alright. I do worry about Inspector Sonaka sometimes, I really do, because he's bleeding constantly, all the day, all the time. 9 months ago, when he appeared here in the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover disguised as a waiter of a restaurant. If I'm not wrong, the original Hosonaga was actually ill, right? On time on the steamship of the Great Britain, of course. These guys are sailors to keep us safe on the journey. Well, some of us thought that didn't help you. Did it? Katsuma? Katsuma! Why you had to die like that? Sorry, I apologize. From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that English woman committed at the end of the last year. Ah, yes. It was an English doctor she killed, as I understand. Dr. John H. Wilson, yes. The man whom I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now that Copier herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer. I have a strong feeling I know the answer. On the voyage of Great Britain, no. We had a most expected encounter. We admire Sarah Shelley's shelves, the detective, I mean. It's definitely something related with the Baskerville thingy. The Hound of Baskerville. Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course. Yeah, okay, we got it. Ah, my arch nemesis, how little of you to utter his name. Well, according to the stories published about him, the adventure of Alec Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped me to solve crimes. A bestie. Oh no, another bestie that died. Foreshadowing. I feel like Ray. Ray, you must get ready. You must start to write down your will. You know, if you know what I mean. And the man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? Dr. Wilson? I just can't believe it is a coincidence. Why our besties dies. And I need to call my bestie now and ask if it's fine. It's just in case. If that's the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago. Must have been friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. And if that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again. She doesn't know he died, right? She only knows that he went away, as you know. I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born. Yes, grandmother told me about it. On returning to Japan, I took my professorship at Imperial Human University, but also served another role as an administrator to the government on diplomatic affairs. Yes, I was aware of that as well. In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you. Told you. I think he's the guy that betrayed Van Zisk. Whatever. You know what I mean. the guy, the careless boy. Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. Said that you collapsed with a high fever, and you were growing weaker by the day. What? Where did the news come from? That's what I'd like to know, because after that long sea voyage I found you in fine health, father. Was there something very brilliant that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way, or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of. I feel like he never said it. You and me. You reserve your most cutting glares to your father, Susato? I'm sorry, my dear. I simply can't... Ark! Let me go! Menimemo? Ha! 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 Menimemo-san! So one throw was enough for you. You got one thing to say before they take me away, Professor! Me? I know the truth. Sorry. I know the truth. I know that you had a hand in what went down. And the visiting student's fate. Visiting student is Albrecht? No, not her! The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago. What? Student of law? Me? It must mean Kazuma-san. What are you talking about? What does any of these have to do with Kazuma-san? Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know the guy never made it to England, that he died in that steamship. That he'll never... Ah! Aya! Well, I didn't expect to find him here. Where your office are playing at. Very sorry, Your Excellency. Do you expect the judge doing a Susato takedown? Oh, was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived. Eugene, it is a good job I came by. Yes, thank you for dealing with him. I'll be there shortly. Trouble. Your Excellency? The trial is over. I'm not your excellent anymore. I'm merely your father's friend, Seishiro Jikoku! Seishiro Jikoku? Huh? Jikoku means hell in Japanese, sorry. Interesting. They should have called it just Anma at this point. It's quite similar in feature. You know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. And I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken a more dashing appearance. Susato? Did you know all along? From the start of that thumbnail? Judge sees everything, Susato. I got a motorbike today. Can't let you take the risk. If Seishiro here hadn't known, and then he recognized you. So I had a word on his ear beforehand, as an old friend. So Seishiro, shall we? Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have a very diplomatic issue to address. Before you go, father! Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our early conversation at a later date. Well done again, both of you. Yeah. Did they mean to kill him? That's my... No, that doesn't make sense. It was an accident. His death. So, I don't know. It's weird. Oh, thank you very much. So they must have meant to send him. But what happened? That's weird. It's weird. What do you think of Mr. Seishiro's link? It's been a while since I sent a man flying like that. Ha 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 ha. Whatever could father had been hiding from me. About Giselle Brett, about Dr. Wilson. And now it seems according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama too. Kazuma! I'm gonna find the true murderer! I'm quite confident we already found it, but I guess there's something more hidden, so I'm gonna make it even more strange. I'm gonna find who killed you! I don't know. When nobody else is around. I'm gonna find you what intended to kill you. Okay, that is even better. Judicial Assistant Mikotoba-san inquires. Can I have a word? Oh, yes, of course. Soseki-san, what is it? I think perhaps it could be fate that we are meeting again, like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you. Oh, I believe. You believe? It might be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England. These I have to hear. Please, Soseki-san, tell me it at once. I will. I As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I've embroidered in. Thank goodness local student Naruhodo Squire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, submitted a report about my experience to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. Oh, it was your father, Secure Professor Mikadaba! He wanted to ask me all sort of things about my report. My father seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of my report. Anyway, he left eventually. Heavily truly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that I sent a telegram to ask him to return to Japan. What was it then? The particular part of my father was interesting. I'm guessing about the prosecutor. I don't really know exactly, but do you remember them? Those two terrible cases was caught up in? Of course, I could never forget. Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the second case. The second one? You mean the one Mr. Sean forbade any of us to talk about in public? Second case? Which is why the only case involving you and any member of the public is aware is the first. Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what the dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that the case somehow holds the key of all these curious unanswered questions. But a really heinous case. The case of a haunted lodgings. Of the haunted lodgings? I'm still confused. What case? Not really back to Japan. I thought that the whole business was over, but it seems I was wrong. Perhaps I was only stalled, perhaps. So, something happened. Something happened. We don't know. You are not aware of it. The second case. That's it? That's it? That's it, I think.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of the first trial of Ace Attorney Chronicles, or Resolve 2, whatever you like to call it. The second chapter of the game. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you gonna keep a check on the next day. Adventure, whatever. And see you again very, very soon. Good lovely bye.
Objection!